Hello, Comic Collectors Guild members. This is Wes, and today I am speaking to Zach Lawrence from Northfield, Ohio. Hey, Zach, how are you today?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
Not too bad. Happy weekend to you. Thank
Yeah.
you for agreeing to come together, the show that spotlights Guild membership. Tell me a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to the Guild.
Well, guys, I've been collecting comics since I started in 2011 when I met my buddy at Target. He introduced me to a comic book shop near us. I never really went to any of those, but I was actually always collecting comic memorabilia since I was 4 years old. So yeah, I've been always a big fan, but I never actually knew where to pick up comic books after the days where the grocery store would have them. And then yeah, luckily I got back into it when I was 19.
A little stretch of time in between, a little hiatus.
Yeah. Well, I never actually left, but I would like read the graphic novels, but I never actually got my own physical comic books until 19.
I see. And how old are you now?
I am 28, almost 29.
So about 10 years of heavy collecting.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good. So what else do you collect besides comics? Do you have any other fandoms, any other things you're interested in?
Well, if you can see behind me, I have the long claw from the book version from Game of Thrones. And I got a ton of statues all over the place. And you can see my Power Ranger helmets because let's face it, I can't be a Green Ranger comics without Power Ranger stuff.
And why did you choose the Green Ranger over the other ones?
Well, because Green Ranger's the best. It's like no, hands down. Like he's the best. He's got the Dragon Zord and the Dragon Dagger. Like, come on.
This is where I bring out my former high school teacher, where I used to tell my students, I'm like, well, you can make a statement like that, but you need to elaborate more.
I mean, look, he was evil, turned good, and he just Goldar could never hold a candle to him, and he just annihilated everybody.
I see. He did have that flute thing. I always found
Yeah,
that.
that's the Dragon Dagger.
Besides Power Rangers, video games, comic collections, I see you by your background. You also have some pictures on the wall. I can't quite make them out, but I'm sure there's a story there.
All those pictures you see of the Smallville are all signed by the cast members,
Oh, nice.
except the very top one up there. That's just me with Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, and John Glover.
And the one in the middle,
That is Jonathan Kent telling Clark to never forget about Smallville, and
uh,
he signed that for me. I got to meet him at Steel City Con. I have all the Venomverse covers where it's like just the version variants, and it's all one connecting piece. And then above that, I have all the Power Rangers issue 25, where Dragon actually was breaking all the helmets because of all the variants. So I have him like holding all the helmets, and the middle one is the store exclusive crystal, him holding the power crystal. And then above that is all the original Power Ranger issues from issue 0. So it's like all the variants. And then on the left side, I actually have all New Mutants 98, like from with Deadpool on there. And I've got Gambit on one side. I've got some of the Superman covers on there, like the Batman Superman issue 1, the ultimate variant where it's them diving down the building. So it's like just my favorites all over the place.
framed, or do you have those? Are those framed, or do you have those slabbed?
Those are framed.
What character in your particular fandom do you relate to, and why the most?
Um, it's hard for me to relate. I try to hold myself to Superman's um standards. He just tries to do the best he can. I mean, even if he can't do it, he still tries as hard as he possibly can. So I try to hold myself to that standard.
Today we're going to be talking about your collection, and I'm going to start that off by asking if you have three parts of your collection that mean the most to you, that have particular meaning, that you would like to share with us today.
Well, I have a Hulk 181, I have a Daredevil issue 1, and I have a Captain America issue 100, all signed by Stan Lee. Those are my top three.
It's impressive you get to meet the man before he passed. That's incredible.
Yeah, I met him back in 2012. Instead of going to bars, I decided to go meet Stan Lee for my 21st birthday.
It's too bad you couldn't have met Stan Lee in a bar. That would have been awesome, I'll bet.
It would have been amazing.
So why those issues in particular? What meaning do they have for you?
So the Daredevil issue 1, that was always on my top to get. Like, I never thought I'd be able to actually hold one in my hands. We went to New York and back in 2010, or no, 2008, and for a high school field trip, and I was hell bent on trying to find Midtown Comics. I didn't know where it was, and I didn't know the name. I was just like, I know there's a comic book shop because I saw it in a Disney movie, and they can't blur out a Batman Superman logo anywhere. So I was like, I know there's a comic book shop. So I found it, and when I went in there, I saw the Daredevil issue 1, and I was like, I want this book, and it was $700 at the time. So I was like, not today. So you fast forward over to 2011. I was at my local comic book shop, and he had a really poor grade of Daredevil. And I was like, I'm going to get this book. And I had a 30% off coupon, and I'm like, I'm going to get this book for cheap. And then I've got that the Hulk 181. I was at a pawn shop, and the guy was selling a bunch of comic books, and he doesn't really know what he had at the time. And I was like, I need this Hulk 181. And I'm like, here we go. And I went over, I'm like, how much are you asking for this Hulk 181? And he's like, $200. And I was like, I'll buy it. I worked at Target at the time, and I had very little money, and my paychecks are $90 a pay. And I'm like, I'm going to get this Hulk 181. And I was like, I want to do a payment plan. He's like, deal. And he's like, you have a month to pay it off. And I was like, fine. I paid that sucker off in 2 weeks because I was so hell-bent on getting this Hulk 181 and before he realized what he did. And I've got this Hulk 181 with the stamp included still. So this is just like the top tier Hulk 181 for me. And my parents went on vacation the 1 year, and I forget where they went, but they went to a flea market, and this guy had comic books, and he had all Captain America issue 100, and he graded it as 6.0. And my parents were like, well, we're going to grab that because that looks like it's an important book. Well, none of us really realizing what's going on. And they showed me the book, and I'm like, holy crap, I just got a Captain America issue 100. It's the first reboot issue. He's still in the ice when you open up the book. So I'm like, I'm getting this signed by Stan Lee for sure. So that's how I kind of just accidentally stumbled upon these three books, and I'm like, I needed them.
So what was it like meeting Stan Lee?
I want to say it was great, but it also was kind of a disappointment at the same time because they were moving you around like a herd of cattle, and you're just like, next, and you're like, but I want to talk to the guy, and they're not letting you. So you're just like in and out, and he's a pervy old man. I got to witness that firsthand, and it was hysterical. My mom was with me, and like there's a bunch of guys, and he's just kind of like not even wanting to talk to them. And then I'm like, okay, and he's like, oh, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, here we go. Stanley gonna be my sugar daddy.
Holy crap! I'm not sure how to feel about that.
It's Stanley. The man literally said, digital comic books are great, but you want to look at, it's like looking at boobs online. They're okay, but you want to be seeing them in person. Like, come on.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Let me jump to this one. Your stories of getting those three books are pretty cool, very fascinating. Can you top that with a collector's story that just blows those three away?
So those individually were great, but when I went to my very first local con, I got all four issues of the Wolverine miniseries for $70. They knocked it down. They were like, "Yeah, you look like you're just starting your collection," and they're like, "We're going to give you these books for $70, and they're normally $100, but they're yours." So I was just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And they're like, "And you will, if you we'll give you $70 back if you ever want to sell them." So they basically just gave me these books for free, or I mean, not free, but they gave me them discounted price, and just because they could see that I was really into Wolverine.
Is there an object that is sort of like your ultimate?
I'm going to be buried with my Thor hammer that I have for that was made from the set from Thor. I'm not getting rid of that hammer. That thing is just too sweet. There's only 500 of them out there, and I have one, luckily.
Oh, so it's an actual movie replica from the.
Yeah, it's an actually movie replica. It's about 5 pounds. It's all metal and everything.
Is there like one item that you would like to find someday?
So that long claw sword I have in the back, I would like to get the book version of Ice. I have the show version, but I'd like the design of the book version. And I would like to have them like just all kind of lined up, like all my Game of Thrones swords lined up perfectly. Maybe one day I'll come across Ice, but who knows?
Well, there's certainly lots of artisans out there that actually make those swords, but it might cost you a little bit. In terms of other types of entertainment, do you have a favorite comic-related television show or movie? Besides Smallville, we already know.
Yeah, I mean, I probably watch Winter Soldier, the movie Winter Soldier, more than all the other ones. That's like my all-time favorite Marvel movie.
How do you feel like Smallville stacks up against some of these DC shows that are on like The Flash, Supergirl, that sort of
I
thing?
stopped watching them. I couldn't even stand them anymore. They were pushing too much stuff for me to actually enjoy anymore, where it wasn't even part of the plot line anymore. And Smallville would tackle some stuff, but it wasn't like every episode they were shoving something down my throat. They were integrating like some kind of lesson in there somewhere. So to me, Smallville is king, and everything else is just court gestures after a while.
Have you checked out any of the DC shows that are on the streaming service?
I don't have the streaming service yet. I was just talking about the CW ones because they all were on the same channel. So it was a little disappointing watching how they handled Smallville to how they're handling everything else lately.
Yeah, I can tell you, I don't have the streaming service either, but I did buy the Doom Patrol Blu-ray set for
Yeah.
a reduced price. Pretty fantastic.
Is
But
it?
I'm a big Grant Morrison fan from like way back, so I mean, it was all of his, like a lot of his run when he took over in Doom Patrol 19
Oh, okay.
back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Do you have any non-comic or non-fandom related interests?
I do like football. I'm a big fan of football. God have mercy on my soul for being a Bengals fan, but here we are.
Oh, it's so sad what happened to the Bengals.
Want to get rid of the flaming red-headed ginger.
Anything else that you do?
No, I actually kind of just work. It's just like I got my 3 hobbies, kind of, and then it's just it's enough to keep me pretty occupied over the day.
And is that your own room, or I guess the question I would ask next? I mean, you're 28, so are you a married dude or
No, I'm single.
single? Okay, so you don't have to argue with the wife.
I just have to argue with myself and be like, do I really need this? And then it's usually, yes, I do. Well, I did not need this.
But at least your space is yours, so if you wanted to fill it all up with toys and fun, you could.
It is. Trust me, it's all filled up with everything.
Someday that might come to an end. Now you'll find yourself in a small room in the basement, huddling in a corner somewhere.
Precious.
Precious, my precious. So this is a question I love asking. So Zach, do you have any embarrassing collector stories you want to share with our members?
Oh yeah, this is the brutal one. Again, the long claw sword in the back. This is like my pride and joy and my nightmare all at the exact same time. I um I got all excited because I was just now starting to collect collectibles and stuff. And at one point I did remember that it had a card of authenticity because of the autograph. But this guy had the sword, and I was like, I'm just gonna get this sword. I really want it. I talked him down and down and down to get this sword. I got the sword. I get home, I text my buddy. I'm like, you'll never guess what I finally got. And he's like, what'd you get? I was like, I got the sword. And he was like, did you get the card of authenticity? And I was just like, I forgot to ask about that. So there was no card of authenticity with the guy forgot. And this guy was so bad at his job. That shop's not even around anymore. It was that bad. I ended up calling the Valerian Steel Company, and those guys are the best. I was like, guys, this is what happened. I'm an idiot. Is there any way you could help me? And they're like, just send us your address. We're going to send you. We have a bunch of extra cards of authenticity. We're just going to send you one. We had them ship. We had extras because sometimes we forgot to put them in or anything. Normally $5. They just sent it to me for free and didn't even charge me shipping. So it got all worked out. But yeah, I've learned my lesson of make sure there's a card of authenticity everywhere.
So you've already mentioned that you do go to cons. Do you do any cosplaying?
I do every once in a while. I have my Smallville. I actually have a Smallville leather jacket that he wore in the 10th season. I'll wear that to a con every once in a while. I even have the Action Comics issue 1 from 2011 when they did the reboot. And he's got the jeans, he's got the boots, and he's got just the shirt with the cape on. That's what I'll wear sometimes. So it's just like they're very not the flashy kind, but they're enough that I know what they are, and I don't care if anybody else can figure it out or not.
You like to go for the subtle cosplay.
Yeah, I'm just like the least amount of effort, maximum reward.
I mean, some of those people that walk around in those costumes, I'm like, how do you stay in that all day long? You know, it's going to be an act of will sometimes. What's one of the best cosplays that you've personally seen?
So I was at Steel City Con over Christmas time, just this past couple months, and a guy came in as Krampus. And I'm talking about, like, we're talking about the full-blown German-style Krampus with the bells and the whistles and everything. And these little kids are walking around, and he's just, like, stomping his hooves everywhere, and he's just, like, scaring the crap out of everybody. And I'm over there dying of laughter because this is just so hysterical. And I'm like, I feel like I could be in that German parade thing watching that go on. That's how well detailed he was.
Yeah, the creativity of some people that go to these cons is amazing. Okay, Zach, we're just about at the end. So is there any final messages you'd like to give to the Guild or anything you'd like to say to our members?
Yeah, I'm actually part of the Renegades on the Instagram comic book auction group. And I've got Tony, who is NRG, and Miguel, who is the comic book kid. We all have the Renegades. And we try to hook everybody up with collectible books and everything that you might have a hard time getting. And they go to the cons and everything, and we try to hook anybody up with whatever we can. We are all just in it for the comic book love.
I think we can all relate to that. All right, Zach. Well, it was good meeting you. It was good having this conversation. I appreciate you taking the time. And we look forward to hearing from you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving me the time.
Okay. Have a good one.
You too.
And that's a wrap for Come Together, the show that spotlights membership for the Comic Collectors Guild. If you would like to be spotlighted for our show, please send me a message in my DMs on Instagram at Comics Addicts. You can also contact our administration. Their handles will be at the end of the video. The Comics Collectors Guild is an open forum for all collectors and fandoms. Regardless of who you are and what you love, you are welcome to join for free. Just contact one of our administrators for details. It doesn't matter if you are a lover of cosplay or if you're an artist, writer, inker. If you love Doctor Who, manga, Lord of the Rings, anime, all are welcome to join. Please consider subscribing, leave us a like or a comment down below, and we'll see you next time. So I see from your Instagram that you are quite a talented cosplayer, and you've talked a little bit about some of your future projects. What are your favorite ones that you've done so far?
Definitely Catwoman. I'm a huge DC fan, so I've done Harley Quinn, Zatanna, Catwoman. I want to do more versions of Catwoman as well. She's one of my favorites. Have a lot of fun doing her because I like to do more action-y stuff when I do my cosplay. Harley Quinn's one of my favorites because I like to get into character, so I always have so much fun with her. And Celine from Underworld, she's my favorite cosplay to do.